what brought you to the decision, like, you know what? I'm putting myself out there. I'm going to be in the public spotlight. I'm going to represent my people.
I think in the last few years, we've seen a lot of young women decide to run for office, and they have these like incredible watershed moments where it's like, my representative voted against abortion. And I was like, enough. That's great. I don't have any story like that. My story is really connected to the fact that I grew up in the South Bronx my whole life. I grew up in Hunts Point, which is the rougher side of the mountain. Though the reputation of Hunts Point.
I remember that documentary.
Yeah, no, you see, we got to just move on.
If you know, you know.
We've got to just move on from that. It's not as bad as people think it is. I think it's a wonderful place that I love. But, you know, it is a community that has been starved of meaningful investment in terms of resources. And I lived through that. That's the community that I grew up in. And then at the same time, I went to school every day in this community that had everything you could imagine up in Rye and Westchester. And so watching the dynamic every day, it was like, okay, well, not everybody lives like this. So certainly we don't have to live like this. And what's the disconnect? And through community activism with some organizations in the district and volunteering for the congressman is really when I got to experience the work firsthand and understand the intersection between policy and politics and how important it is. And so I don't have this big watershed moment, but I describe it for people as like a slow drip. It's like a drip, drip, drip over time. And I spent 4 years working for Congressman Serrano, and it became clear to me that, like, it doesn't matter if you have one great level of government representing you, the other ones have to be good too. And it was really during that time that I think it became super clear for me that I would run for office. I wasn't exactly sure when, but I also knew I wasn't going to wait that long. And that's really when it became clear, because I do think politics, they also kind of trick you into thinking that you have to wait. That it's not your turn yet, that you're too young, that you're all these other things. And I knew I wasn't going to play by those rules.
So what does it really take to actually like run for office?
Yeah. It takes a lot of really thick skin. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, it takes a network of people who believe in you and who support you. And it takes, I think, a vision of the leadership that you want to put into action. I think if you have those two things, all the other things that you need, you can build. So obviously you need money to run a campaign, but the way you get money in a campaign is people believing that your campaign can win. And you can't win that campaign without people who believe in you, who are willing to knock doors with you, who are willing to do all the grunt work that goes into a campaign. When people see that you have that and you can build an operation that is meaningful and that can therefore win, that money will arrive. The other support, the endorsements, they will come. Those are all things that I think make it easier to win. But I think the things that you can't win without are genuine support from people. And I say a vision of leadership because I think part of getting people to support you is being able to articulate what are the problems, and more than what are the problems, what are solutions that you're proposing? Because I think any one of us can go outside in New York right now and I can point to you 100 things that are wrong, but coming up with how to fix them gets more difficult.
So what is the how behind all of that? Like, how do you get people to support you?
Yeah.
How do you identify your vision?
Yeah.
How do you know what problem, what solutions are good for what problems? Like, how did you build up the how?
I mean, I tell people that I think when you live in a community, you're already an expert. I tell people this all the time. You are an expert. People make you think that, like, you have to work in politics, you have to go to school, you have to do all this crap to be an expert and be able to run for office. But the truth is, if you live in a community and you experience that problem every day, you're an expert because you are living it every single day. And there's innovation in every single corner of our community because we come from a community and a culture where people know how to do more with less, right? So innovation is built into our everyday. So how do you get to those solutions? I think the answer is within you. It's like, what are some of the things that you wish? It's like, damn, I wish that bus stop was further down the block. I wish that whatever, right? But I think in terms of how do you get to the support, it's getting clear on the answer for yourself. And then it's going out and literally talking to people. I ran in 2018 and I lost that race. I didn't win until 2020. But in 2018, I knocked on almost 4,000 doors myself. That's not counting on any of the doors.
So that still works. Like that type of grassroots
100%.
campaigning still works.
And you know why? Because people don't do it that much. It's really unusual that somebody that you don't expect or don't know comes and knocks on your door.
And they open the door because in today's day and age,
I know.
I mean, I don't know.
You know, and that's a really good point. Especially in New York, people are nervous sometimes. But what you do is like, you know, if I'm going to go knock on the projects, I'm not going to knock at night. if I can avoid it, because I know people are going to be nervous. Like, who is that at my door after dark, right? So I'll work hard to make sure that I get there as much as I can in the daytime. You sometimes can kind of do things where, like, you give people a heads up, where you'll send out a call and say, hey, I'm going to be knocking in these few days, so that if there's a knock on the door, they might be like, oh, maybe it's her. And if they hear you say, oh, I'm the assembly member, or I'm running for whatever, they'll kind of perk up. But the truth is, you'll be surprised. Like, there's an appetite out there. People want to talk about what's going on in their community and how to fix it, because they're living the same issues too, right? And they don't have the capacity or the ability to pick up and make their whole life about that issue. But that doesn't mean it's not important to them. And people are starving for that kind of engagement, and that's what you see on doors, where people open the door. And I actually still struggle with this to this day. You're only supposed to spend like a few minutes on a door because you have to get to thousands. But people will keep you there talking for 10, 15, 20 minutes because they have so much to say. And that, I think, is really special. And it's a really, really, really incredibly unique bonding experience with community. I told you I lost in 2018, and I cannot tell you how many people would come up to me and stop me in the street like, you're going to get it next time. You're going to get it next time. And I'm like, crying. I'm like, I know. Yeah. But it's special to be supported in that way. So I think that's some of the how. Like, you got to actually get out there and do it.
You got to, like, meet people where they are.
Exactly. 100%. And be honest about your vision and your intentions. And if you can't get clear on your vision and your path, then it's probably not time yet. I think that's the measure of, like, are you ready? It's like, are you clear on the work you want to do when you get there? And I think that's the answer.
So you said every campaign requires money.
Yeah. Was
it difficult for you to raise money or ask about money?
Yes, definitely. There's all kinds of studies, actually, that say it's harder for women to raise money in politics. Surprise, right? Anything that you look at, it's harder for women to do. So politics is no different. It's harder for women to raise money. But I also think that as a woman of color, as a Latina, the concept of me asking people for money is, like, completely foreign to me. Like, I would never, ever think about doing something like that. But you start with your friends and family. And again, these are people who believe in you the most, right? Who've been seeing you in the trenches, watching you think about it, watch you do the hard work. And every single time that someone says yes, it boosts your confidence a little more. And I think you understand that for any time that someone decides not to give you money, there's going to be 10 other people who will, and you just keep moving, keep going. And that builds your confidence. And every step forward is another sort of confirmation that you're on the right path, I think, and it makes it easier. So I struggled with getting over my own personal kind of limitation, but once I did that, I was able to get through okay.
You was ready to go.
Ready.